Hey, what is up, my fellow golf ball addicts? Welcome back to the channel, and I have another golf ball review for you today. Today we are diving in to the Seed SD-01. Oh, these European names, huh? Let's dive in. Okay, so we did test the Seed SD-05 a while back, which that was their Pro Soft model, and it actually did really well. It took me by surprise. There was some really great performance numbers. The ball jumped off the club. It had so much bouncy ball effect. The feel was phenomenal. There were at times I felt like maybe I overcompressed it just a little bit, just because how the numbers started to get, especially at the end. But overall, a fantastic golf ball, and one that's probably going to be toward the higher side of the list once we do our top 100. So once that happened, I knew I had to get my hands on the 01, which is actually just their regular Pro model. So this is like what they would recommend is a direct Titleist Pro V1 comparison. And in fact, if you go to their website and look, that's pretty much how it's all laid out. They have a ton of information down there on the golf ball, which is really cool. I won't go through it all. It's kind of, if you're, I'll let you do that on your own. But as far as all these different information outlets they have, it's pretty much just like, hey, this is a legit golf ball, $35 a dozen, and it's just like the Pro V1. And at $35 a dozen, it actually is a really good value. It's actually lower than Vice, but here's the thing. This is where we ran into the issue with Vice also. If you want to try a dozen of them, it is going to run you over $40 because you got to pay for the shipping, and that's all there is to it. You got to buy one box at $35 a dozen, then get the shipping. But the good news is, if you try them out and you really do like them, you know, they have a price structuring just like Vice. So, you know, you buy one box, it's $35 a dozen. You buy two boxes, $34, and so on and so forth. And by the time you get to 5 boxes, as you can see, you only have to pay $29 per dozen, and you get free shipping because you'll be over the $100 threshold. So that's an amazing value. So it's one of those things where you kind of have to bite the bullet at first. I mean, there's no way to do sleeves, unfortunately, but once you get them and once you like them and you order them in bulk, for the season, you can't beat it. I mean, $29 a dozen for a really well-made 3-piece urethane golf ball like this, you're not going to find that on the market very much. So let's go ahead and dive into the design of the golf ball. Like, as I said, this is a 3-piece urethane. Seed actually has a really cool logo. I like this bullseye design they do. It is really unique. It's different. It just says Seed across the front. Got the nice little big one there. You know, it's a very basic design, but I'll tell you what, I actually like their logo. I think it's really good. If you feel the golf ball, it feels very premium. The coating of urethane on the top is pretty thin compared to some of the other ones I've felt, but it actually does feel good though. It feels good quality, it feels premium. It feels like a lot of those other premium tour balls. It really does. I mean, it actually feels like it can hang with the big boys. Sometimes I'll get a value tour ball and I'll feel it, and it feels like it has a urethane polyurethane coating on the outside, but you just know. You're like, that doesn't feel as premium. It doesn't feel as soft. It doesn't feel as smooth. This actually feels really good. So if you come on the side here to the alignment tool, I don't like how thin and small this is. I mean, I like the design, but I wish it was a little thicker. That way you could line your ball up a little bit better. It's just hard for me to see. I'm 6'1", so when I'm standing over the ball, this, unfortunately, is kind of what I'm seeing, and it's just not enough to be able to line it up. I wish it was a little thicker. Also, they do usually make these in a yellow version as well. Some of their like country mile balls and stuff, they make in a matte and different colors, but for the most part, you're looking at either white or yellow. Hey, let's get out to the chipping and putting green and let's see how it does around there. All right, beautiful morning. We are going to do the Seed. Now, the last Seed ball I tested, the Pro Soft, I had a lot of success with it, so I have pretty high expectations for this one. Let's see. Good strike. Hey, some pretty decent checkup right there, actually. Ended up having a firm release, but I definitely hit it a little too hot for sure. But it actually worked out really well. Let's see, let's try it again. There we go, good strike. Absolutely, really good checkup there. Kind of a medium, you know, it's not going to stop on a dime for you, but it has that balanced level of checkup that now keep in mind, this isn't their most spinningest golf ball. They have a tour model golf ball that's for advanced players. It's supposed to spin more. So right now, it doing what it's doing, kind of being in the middle. Not a pure strike there, but again, pretty consistent spin. I'm going to go ahead and run it back just to validate the parking. All right, let me try to hit a little cut here, see if I can open the face. Not bad, not bad. It wasn't a pure strike. I'm going to try another cut again, see if I can get a really good strike. Nope. There we go. Oh yeah, boy, when you hit it pure, it has a lot of checkup. I know that was hard to see because I pulled it so far left, but that ball had a lot of bass effect. It was bouncing all over. like a fish jumping out of water. That was nice. Okay, so far, really good spin. I'm gonna try to get it to go left here. Oh, absolutely, yeah, definitely had some, it actually hit this little divider in the middle of our green, so that kind of stopped it, but it definitely had left spin. So this actually does have quite a bit of spin. Really good strike there. Look at that stopping power. Actually, you know, I'll be honest, if you hit this ball pure, which I'm now starting to do, it really rips on the spin. But boy, if you don't hit it pure, you are gonna see a little bit of variance there, but it still overall has a lot of great spin. Also feel-wise, it's really good. Soft, buttery, comes off really smooth. Not a ton of bouncy ball effect, but really consistent, and there's just a slight little click for feedback. I really like it a lot. It's one of my favorites so far when it comes to sound and feel. All right, so let's start out with, of course, the Seed. Got the mallet putter here, PXG model I tested a while back. Not a true thick mallet, but it is kind of a hybrid mallet, but it has a great feel. So I want to see how this golf ball performs, how it tests, how it feels, how it sounds, the roll. Yeah, like a soft buttery kiss. I mean, really good sound. Roll wasn't perfect, but a 9 out of 10 probably, really good. Could have been me also. Let's go ahead and try it again. Looking right at the target. Oh my goodness, just, yeah, that soft, that butteriness. That roll was way better. This is phenomenal. I mean, this is exactly how I would want a golf ball. Goodness. Well, it ain't the ball's fault I didn't get in the hole, but I'll tell you what, crisp, buttery, little dead, but that's also how the club is. But I mean, it just has a phenomenal sound, a phenomenal feel, and a really good roll. Everything I would expect from a really high-end tour ball. Now we're gonna go to Old Betsy, the 20-year-old Odyssey, white hot putter, a little more blade style from back in the day, more traditional. Let's see how this one feels here. Okay, so a little louder of a click because of the putter. I'm not a real big fan of that click. It's a sharp click too. It's not loud, it's just sharp. But roll is still excellent. Wow, the roll is phenomenal, especially with this one. The more traditional style definitely has a better roll. But I mean, again, we're talking a 9.5 out of 10 versus like a 10 out of 10. I mean, they're both phenomenal. That was me, that was my fault, but you know what? Get in the hole anyway. Nah, it's not gonna. Yeah, this Seed model definitely checks all the boxes for sure. It putts really well, it has a phenomenal feel, with chips around the green as well, and it even had some backspin to boot. So I really hope these numbers are great because this was a really great performance around the green. Okay, so when it comes to total feel across all clubs with this golf ball, this continues the tradition that the Pro Soft model, the SD-05, really started, and that's that it has a really great feel. It's not going to be a perfect 5 out of 5, but I would say a 4 out of 5 feel for sure. It has a nice firm press. When you hit it in the center, it feels really, really good. And even on slight miss hits and off hits, it still feels really, really good. But where this golf ball really surprised me was when I started hitting it off the toe accidentally, or maybe I caught the heel too much. When I started doing that, I really didn't feel that much of a difference. Now, there was enough difference to know. There was enough difference for feedback, but it wasn't like stinging my hands and it wasn't like yelling at me. It was just like, it was pulling me to the side like, hey, you mishit that one, bud. All right, do better next time, patting me on the back, opposed to some of these golf balls that you mishit it and it's screaming at you, throwing plates and shoes going, hey, you mishit it. And it's like, I don't want that. You know, this is a really great feeling golf ball. I think plenty of people, if you like a tour level type of feel, it's going to be right up your alley. So good stuff there. Now, as always, let's get into these performance numbers. And let's start with the 50-yard pitch. Backspin, of course, 7,631 with your backspin RPM. That's slightly above average. And yeah, that's really, really good. I would expect, you know, any type of value tour or tour ball to be 7,500 or above. 8,000 is really like the gold pinnacle of what I shoot for, but 7631 is definitely above average. You know, I mean, we just tested the Z-Star Divide and it got 7,800. So, I mean, you're talking about 200 RPM and the difference between $50 a dozen and $35 a dozen. So, are you really going to notice that 200 RPM? Most likely not. But I will say one thing that's kind of funny. So sometimes on the channel I'll talk about the spin dispersion. Like sometimes when you hit a 50-yard pitch shot and you hit it pure, what does it do? You know, okay, you hit this pure 8,000 RPM. But what happens if you just slightly mishit it? How much spin are you giving up? And the worst one I had tested so far, I forget the ball, but it was like 3,000 RPM. You know, you mishit it, it's 3,000 RPM. This one, don't mishit this. I can tell you that right now because I mishit it, I think, 3 times on the testing for the 50-yard pitch. And I kid you not, one was 1,400, one was 1,700, and one was 1,750. And that's RPM for spin. I've never seen that low. So that means you mishit this a little bit, and you are getting 0 spin. Your ball is bouncing on the green, rolling down, going across the cart path, coming up to the next tee box. Okay, maybe not that, but I mean, that's 0 spin. And so there is a lot of disparity there. So just keep that in mind. That's why these firmer golf balls, I always preach, it's not just about ball speed, it's about forgiveness, because you hit it pure, yeah, it's going to stop on a dime, it's going to stop right next to the hole for you. You mishit it a little bit, and you're off the back of the green rolling because there's 0 spin. So that is some concern. Let's get into the 9-iron now. Looking at a smash factor of 1.31, which is above average. That's really good. Distance-wise, 140.4, which is awesome. You know, that's way more than I got with the Seed SD-05. So, I mean, a lot more ball speed. 141.5, 104.5 on your ball speed. Awesome. I mean, almost gained 4.5, almost 5 yards. 6,112 on your spin. Okay, so really low spin. That's why that extra distance is there, and it did launch low. So I loved those numbers until I got to the spin, just to be completely fair with you. Ball speed's incredible, distance is incredible. I don't mind it launching low. Most Tour-like, Pro V1-like golf balls do. That's just kind of the point. But that spin is kind of concerning me. I mean, is 6,112 going to stop on the green? Yeah, it is. But now you're talking about my average. That's a difference of 750 from my average. So that's a difference. Even average golfers will notice that. So now that's the difference between the ball hitting and stopping next to the hole and hitting and rolling another 2-3 yards, 10 to 15 feet really. And so that's where it gets kind of tricky. And so if you have to really stop this ball on a dime, if you got a pin that's at the front of the green, you're going to have to hit it short and let it just roll up. And so that could be kind of a learning curve. So for being a tour-like golf ball, I wish it had had more spin. All right, so 7-iron smash factor 1.36, which is just slightly below average, so a little disappointing there. But distance-wise, 160.4, which is about 3 yards more than my average. 163.1, again, about 4 yards more than my average. 114.7, that's an increase in ball speed, but again, 5,292, so I did not get a lot of spin from it, and that's why, you know, the extra distance yards. So really, in reality, it would be about average if I just got some decent spin, and I would make that trade 100%. I wish if I could get just a little more spin and take those 3 yards I gained and get it back to average, that would be awesome. But still a low spinning golf ball, 14.5 on that launch. As you saw also, that's extremely low. It's another golf ball that I just had a lot of trouble getting up in the air, you know, regardless of whether I hit it normal or try to hit a fade. It just wants to launch really, really low, which kind of makes sense because overseas, you know, especially in the Europe area where this ball's really popular, there's a ton of wind, there's a ton of rain. It's always, you know, it's not the same weather we have here in the U.S. I can understand why they would want to keep the ball out of the wind. It's a constant thing over there. If you ever watch a Rick Shields video, he's always battling wind, or you know, Peter Finch or any of these guys, they're always battling some seriously heavy wind. So makes sense, but again, for me, for what I'm looking for, it's kind of iffy, and I really wish that spin would have been higher. But let's dive into the 5. Let's see if the 5 hybrid's any better. The smash factor is 1.39, which is average, 179.8. Which is a slight gain in distance, 183.4 again, slight gain, 124.7, slight gain, and then just slightly below average on spin, 4,866. But that's not a super big deal. Again, just really average numbers across the board. All those, when you really even them all out, if you take the good and you take the bad and you kind of let it all fight out and even, it's just average. You know, I mean, it's just an average ball, and so. I really wish it had done differently. Again, you probably saw the 12.8 launch angle, which, I mean, again, is super, super low. In fact, I can't remember ever having a 12. That might be the lowest launching ball I've ever seen. Yeah, it is. Sorry. I had to just check that real quick. So I've never had anything in the 12s for launching. So this is the lowest launching I've experienced. So not going to be probably my cup of tea unless it's a really, really windy day and I've just got to hit everything not above person high, you know, 6 feet or lower. All right, so last but not least, we have the driver, 1.47 on your smash factor, which is above average, 226.4. Hey, that's actually really good. 236.7, that's really good. 143.3, excellent ball speed. Love to see that. 2,376 spin, 13.4 on your launch, which again is low, and then yeah, I mean actually. So those numbers are good. Those are probably some of the best numbers I've gotten from the whole test, and they're not fantastic. They're not going to blow me away, but they're really good. So I mean, at least we got something out of that. So there we go. If you're looking for some driver distance and you're looking for a nice low launch angle, this ball's got you covered. All right, let's talk about the durability real quick before I dive into just kind of my closing thoughts. I gotta say, Seed did another really good job. So this is actually after over 100 shots. I did over 100 shots on the test with this. It is kind of banged up, but I expect that to be the case. I mean, come on, it's been hit over 100 times, so of course it's gonna be a little banged up. But you know, it still feels really good as far as the polyurethane coating on the outside. I probably would be starting to get iffy about whether I would play with this ball in particular. But after 100 shots, like I said, most of the time for me, after a round, I'm going to be tossing it anyway if it makes it through the round. So for me, seeing this, I think it's great. I think it's like a 9 out of 10. I think they did a really good job with the durability, but you know, the Pro Soft was that way too. So Seed so far has done exceptional on their durability test. All right, so in conclusion, you know, this is tough because there's no bad numbers here. You know, I mean, again, we look at the design, it's good. We look at the green side, it's good. We look at, you know, 9, 7, 5, 50-yard pitch. Everything is good, right? So does the golf ball get a recommendation? Sure, absolutely. I mean, it's a good golf ball. It's a good value at $35 a dozen. If you end up really liking it, the value's through the charts. There's one thing that's kind of, it's in the back of my brain and I just can't really let it go. And that's that it reminds me a lot of the Vice models. Like, I think of Vice being like the USA version of Seed. Like, Seed's the European version, and this would be, you know, of course, or Vice, of course, would be the USA version. And so, just based on the price structure and how they're doing, you know, the whole idea is, you know, value tour ball direct to consumer at, you know, great prices, but, you know, competing against tour, you know, Pro V1s and Chrome Tours and TP5s and all that. The price structure is the same, you know, where, you know, $39.99 a dozen, but if you want, you know, 5 boxes or more, you can get them for $32 a dozen. Like, it's kind of structured the same way. And so if that's how I look at it, I have to look at, okay, well then who's better than Vice or Seed? And as you guys know, based on the testing, based on today's golfers testing, you know, the wonderful testing we just did a couple months ago still blows my mind, but Vice clearly wins. So for any US-based customer, you know, Vice is going to be the way to go. I mean, that's just all there is to it. I mean, the numbers were eye-popping. The numbers were so good, I had to question them for months because that's how good they were. I mean, it was just incredible. And not just the Vice Pro or the Vice Pro Plus, but the Vice Pro Air, the Vice Tour, the whole lineup's just incredible. And although this golf ball's good, you know, it's not great. You know, it's just good, you know, across the board. A good 7 out of 10, something like that. It's good, but it just doesn't have that eye-popping, record-breaking numbers like Vice did, you know. The fact that I lost spin with multiple clubs would bother me. The fact that it wants to launch so freaking low bothers me. Now, I'm not saying there isn't a specific golfer for that. That might be. You might be in a position where you swing really fast, 100 to 105 mile an hour, and you need a low golf ball because you play on a course with a lot of wind. Maybe you're on the coast or something. Yeah, it could be worth a shot 100%, but for the broad majority of guys who are getting on here all the time watching my videos and they're like, hey, we're on the quest for the best golf ball. You know, this one's good. Good, not great. Guys, as always, keep watching, keep saving, and keep learning. Until next time.